Petrol-powered hatches are back in fashion, so much so that there are brands bringing petrol back to cars that were actually electric-powered. But the new CUPRA Born, isn't doing that at all. Although it is going to do, I think, the next best thing, because inside, it brings back something we've all been wanting. So in this video, I'm going to show you what those really important changes inside are, and I'm also going to walk you through the changes to this awesome looking new hatchback, which also gets some physical changes to its powertrain. Honestly, there are some big differences on this versus the old and very popular CUPRA Born. A car that you can, by the way, still nab in brand new form by heading to marshall.co.uk or by heading to a Marshall store. Search Marshall CUPRA to find your nearest one. Oh, and don't forget, you can also find a used car via the Cinch app, which can be downloaded for free using the QR code on screen. Now, first things first, I need to tell you about the pricing, because even though it's not confirmed yet, this is still a brand new update. I have it on good information that the car shouldn't cost any more than the outgoing version, which means it should start from under £35,000, thanks in part to the UK government grant that CUPRA continues to expect to have. But you know what? That means you get, for the same money, a bit more. And I'm not just talking about what's inside, but also on the outside as well, because this is a new design and I think it's really ramped up in terms of raciness. CUPRA is trying to accentuate the sportiness of the brand, and that's why you get on the front this whole new front section down here. You've got this more racy front grille, you've got some aerodynamic styled blades. I don't know if they actually do anything, but they look quite cool, and they go with these openings over here. Plus, you'll have noticed the headlights as well. They're slightly tweaked and more aggressive. They've got this slight cut into them. And it doesn't matter whether you go for an entry-level car or this top-of-the-range VZ, you will always get this cool 3-light design as well. Although it is worth going for the VZ if you can afford it, because then on the headlights, you get matrix LED technology inside. So at night, this thing should be as bright as it is racy.
It's properly racy on the side too, with these bronze-accented 20-inch VZ alloys really setting off the Born's new shade of grey. Although Brits worried about driving with big wheels on our bumpy roads can rest assured that a new range of 19-inch options are also incoming with their own snazzy designs. Whatever you go for, the boy racer in me loves the side skirts on the sill, and I don't mind the new textured 3D pattern above the back wing here. What do you think?
All right, this is my favourite bit as far as the changes on the exterior of the CUPRA Born are, and that is just the rear in general, because as you'll see, there's quite a lot of change. Now, firstly, we've got this light bar, which of course, is nothing new, but the changes are internal, because you'll see there's actually a new 3D layering to the design, which looks really cool up close. And the badge is of course illuminated, but do you know what? It looks all right. And if you don't know what CUPRA is, there are still some people who don't know what that brand logo means. Well, they've put it down here in lettering, just in case. Now, of course, you won't have missed the diffuser on the very bottom of the car. I say diffuser, let's do it in inverted commas, because this is definitely a design piece. It's one that adds a load of muscle to the rear and really emphasizes the raciness of this brand. But it is just there for design. It's not going to add any downforce. I can feel underneath, it's not a proper diffuser. And actually, do you know what? They have thought about usability elsewhere, because look, if I lower this down, what do we have here? Well, this is the power and mounting point for a bicycle rack. Apparently loads of CUPRA buyers buy and add that as an option. And so now when you tick that box for the option, it will be hidden under your number plate here, which is quite cool. And of course you'd add another plate to the rear of the bike rack. And if you're wondering, well, what if the first buyer of this car doesn't spec that, but then I were to get the car as a second owner, can you add it on? And the answer to that is yes, you can. You can add in to the wiring that apparently is just built in as standard. So it's just a case of adding on the additional bit. So overall, the exterior looks a lot more racy, and yeah, there's some added functionality as well. But remember what I said at the start of the video? Inside is where that big improvement has come. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but look what we've got on the steering wheel. We have physical buttons returning to the steering wheel of a CUPRA Born. I say returning, in fact, they were never on the car, but these are the sort of things you'll recognize from earlier Volkswagen Group machines. And that's a very good thing, because, all right, we don't have a roaring petrol engine under the bonnet, but we do have better functionality when you're driving quickly. And of course, this is a CUPRA. You're supposed to drive it enthusiastically. So I'm very happy to see the return of buttons for your cruise control and your media and other things being physical. No more accidental pressing of those things when you're in the middle of a corner. Now, you'll also have noticed that I'm sat on some very racy bucket seats, but these are only standard on the top of the range VZ model, of which this represents. Otherwise, there'll be an option, but they are just lovely. And do you know what? It doesn't matter what you go for. CUPRA does make sure that this raciness doesn't come at too much of a cost of material usage, because all the materials going into this car, well, they've prioritized recyclability. So even the fabrics, the polymers and the yarns, etc., they're all using a load of recycled plastics, etc. And that's true also for the dash top, which now gets a slightly different pattern to go with some of the exterior details. The other big change, which you absolutely won't have missed, is the big screen in front of me here. Now we've got this big one over here, but we've also got a much wider and, dare I say it, much nicer and much more premium feeling instrument cluster. The old one was a little dinky one attached to the steering column, the same as you got on an ID.3, but now you've got a proper nice wide display. It feels way more premium, and it's given designers and UX people the opportunity to have a little bit more fun, because now not only can they put the instrument cluster lower and at a slightly racier position, but also they've now got new graphics. So when you change into sportier drive modes, or even when you use the e-launch control system, it will play video game-like graphics. So that's nice. Now, when you're charging, I'll talk about charging speeds in a little bit, but when you are charging, because this now runs with Android technology, actually this does as well, it means that they can now have YouTube or Spotify and probably some other systems as well built in. So you can sign into your account and watch whatever you want when you're charging up. Oh, and by the way, that Android tech has also meant that Waze, Google Maps and other useful functions can be displayed here on the instrument clusters. Now, yes, you have probably also noticed we've still got slidey heater controls and volume controls down here. They're slightly more forgivable because you can do your volume on here, but the heater controls are a little bit fiddly, but CUPRA does at least illuminate them in the dark, which should have always been the case across the Volkswagen Group cars, and there's also a slight lip here around them. So if you're driving along in a country lane at night and it's dark and you're not wanting to take your eyes off the road, you can feel your way to where they're set. Although I still wish they'd have brought back a spinny dial thing, but you know, this is the next best thing. Oh yeah, and there have been some more button upgrades in the interior of the Born, because if you look on the door down here, we now have 4 window switches for the 4 windows. No more do you have to press rear and then play with the rear ones on the front 2. It's just much quicker, you've got all the controls back. And for the driver at least, you've also now got the option of memory controlled seats, which means you've got 3 profiles, so you can set it how you like it, get in and click the button as you please. Plus, the Sennheiser sound system has also been upgraded with some new software, so it's a bit bassier, and apparently it gives you a slightly better surround sound experience. And I think that might also be true for when the car simulates an engine tone, although we won't know about that until we drive the car.
And obviously to do that, this EV needs electricity, which will now be stored in either a 58 kilowatt hour battery offering around 250 miles of range, or a 79 kilowatt hour endurance battery with an anticipated 370 miles of range. Both of these variants will be punchy, with 168 and 228 horsepower respectively, giving the Alpine A290 a real run for its money. But there's an even more powerful version to mention, and it uses the same motor as the hot Volkswagen ID.3 GTX.
You will have noticed that this is the VZ model, which means it's the top of the range version of the CUPRA Born. And so that means you've got 322 horsepower. The battery is the same 79 kilowatt hour one you got in the Endurance, but now you have 545 Newton meters of torque to ensure a 0 to 62 time of 5.6 seconds. This is a quick car, and of course it will still do something close to 370 miles of range. So it's a really rounded but very racy take on the CUPRA Born. I really need to get driving one of these, and of course even living with one should be pretty easy now that they've got all these additional functionality improvements inside. It's just a big improvement and uplift in a very competitive world. There are a lot of rivals to deal with, but I think this one looks the best out of the lot of them, especially at the back. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below, and of course don't forget, if you enjoyed it, to hit the subscribe button. I really need to get driving one of these.